What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and this is my DraftKings Showdown breakdown for tonight's Sunday Night Football game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Let me know in the comments section who are your favorite options at captain and utility for tonight's slate. Plus, follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to the sim results as we get closer to lock. Average winning fantasy point score in the optimal lineup for this slate, 125.6. You could actually leave quite a bit of salary on the table as well. 3.3 San Francisco 49ers average in the optimal lineup, 2.7 Eagles. That is not surprising whatsoever. Eagles 7.5 point favorites, 45 point total. We're definitely leaning towards Niners here. Now is the time. We've got to dive into captains. Here we go. So we don't have ownership yet, but if I'm just starting with the guy that is the most likely captain, we've got to start with Miles Sanders. Sanders showed up in the optimal lineup at captain 21% of the time. Next closest guy is Nick Mullins at 16. No one else is above 10. So we are very, very focused here on Sanders and Mullins. Sanders has to be the guy that you're going to. If you're playing cash, it's Sanders for sure. I have him at 26 fantasy points. That's a monstrous projection in the captain spot. He's only 13.8. $1,800 cheaper than Carson Wentz. Wentz at 15.6 is basically, I don't want to say unplayable at captain. He's in the optimal lineup 7.5% of the time. I assume he'll end up over-owned just because he's the quarterback. I greatly prefer Nick Mullins. Not something that I would have ever expected to say before the season started. Mullins, $900 cheaper than Wentz, a much better projection, a much better setup for the game. You definitely have to go Mullins before you go Wentz. You have to go Sanders before you go to any of them. If you need someone off the beaten path, you want to save a bit of salary, $10,800. I'd go to Zach Ertz. No Goddard as of right now, so Ertz should see a little bit more focus as a tight end. 8% of the time, Zach Ertz is in the optimal captain spot. That means, like, if you're playing a 20 max, you kind of want him in two of your lineups. I wouldn't even hate going a little north of that if his ownership happens to come in low. So we're starting with Sanders. We're going to Mullins. If you need a little bit different of a play, go to Zach Ertz. Now, as we head to the utility spot, similar stuff at the top. You know you want to go to Mullins. He's the most likely flex option. So if you don't have him at captain, Mullins is the guy that you want at utility. Same story for Miles Sanders. If you don't have him at captain, you want him at utility. Wentz and Kittle both look significantly better at the utility spot than they do at captain. 48% of the time, Carson Wentz is in the optimal. 46% of the time, it's George Kittle. So many 4s and 6s and percents. It's really tough to get those words out. Zach Ertz, Jeff Wilson, 7,200 and 7K respectively. They're in the optimal lineup about 40% of the time. Lots of concentration there because of the salaries. I love going to Ertz and or Wilson. I'd probably only want one of the two because I'm expecting them to pick up a lot of ownership. After that, I'm dropping all the way down. So you have two options that are fantastic at the utility spot. One of them is Deebo Samuel at $200. He should be making his return today, and he should not be $200. That's just the incorrect price because he's not supposed to be back. So if Deebo Samuel really is on the field for tonight's game at $200, one, he's going to be wildly popular, so pay attention to the ownership. But two, you will have to use him in a cash game scenario. The difference is you could try to get a little different if too many people get cute and go to Samuel by going to John Hightower at $800. The Eagles are just walking wounded. Everybody that plays wide receiver for the Eagles basically gets hurt. So now Hightower's looking like he could be a wide receiver 2 for the Eagles in this spot. He's $800. I've got him projected for 8 fantasy points on DraftKings. That puts him in the optimal lineup 28% of the time. If you're spending down to save some salary, to load up at the top tier, it's John Hightower and it's Deebo Samuel. Now, I mentioned it on the FanDuel video, which you could probably click on right now if you would like. We should be able to put a link right here. We don't have ownership right now, so it's a little bit more difficult to explain guys that I'm trying to fade. I can just say guys that didn't perform well in my sims, but Brandon Ayuk is the first guy we'll talk about. He's 7,800. He showed up in 18% of the optimal lineups. He's sandwiched between a ton of guys in like the high 30s, low 40s range. In my opinion, Brandon Ayuk is a natural guy to simply fade. But if Ayuk happens to go wildly under-owned, let's say that Ayuk is projected for 8% ownership, well then I really like him. So pay close attention to the ownership, but right now, Brandon Ayuk at 7,800 stands out as a guy that doesn't belong in the same salary tier. Similar situation goes to, unfortunately, the Eagles defense, 4,400, again, just sandwiched in between other individual players or the Niners defense, for example, that have just significantly higher frequencies of being in the optimal lineup. Eagles are only there 8% of the time. And if we just look at guys in that salary tier, Kendrick Bourne, Niners D, Greg Ward, Robbie Gould, Jake Elliott, all of these guys are like 16% or higher, so twice as likely to be in the optimal as the Eagles. Again, pay close attention to projected ownership when it comes out, but for right now, Brandon Ayuk and Eagles D are the two easiest plays to get away from. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. That is my DraftKings Showdown breakdown for tonight's Sunday Night Football game between the Niners and the Eagles. Again, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when it all goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman to get the updates, and let me know in the comments who are your favorite plays. There's a FanDuel video that I alluded to before. Click the link for that if you want to play on both sites. Otherwise, if you need more Showdown content, tomorrow, Monday Night Football, I will have Showdown content available for it, so keep an eye out. That's why you subscribe to the channel. Good luck tonight, guys. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.